Like when you get to that point where it's like everyone's sharing your stuff, people are talking about you, inviting friends, you could create another poll and say, hey guys, how can I serve you? Like, what do you need the most in XYZ niche, right? Because this could go for any type of niche, you know, community. So asking them and then making that offer, right? Because at that point they're ready. They trust you. They want more of you, right? And obviously the more they pay, the more of your time they get. So it's kind of how you have to try to balance it. When we take over communities and we manage communities, the first post that we ever pull out is we're polling the community. We poll them, we ask them, we say, hey, what do you want to see more of in this community? And based on their answers, that's how we collect the theme days. So for example, in the Clickfunnels community, we poll the members every 3 months. We have a poll that goes up and we switch our theme days based on what people are saying and obviously based on the engagement of the previous ones in those previous 3 months. So the thing is, when people create groups, most of the time, the group owners, they just want to create all the content. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. But, you know, sometimes that's not what your members want to see, even though it's in the same niche, but it may not be what your members need at that time or what they want to see, right? So polling the people and asking them what they want to see is how we create our theme days. And that goes for all the communities we manage. We do the same exact thing. We have that same process everywhere.
Yeah, it's so important because like I've seen people just get really bored of them because like especially a lot of entrepreneur groups, it's like the same theme days everywhere. It's like, what's your goal? What's this? Hey, it's promo day, you know, and they can't work, but we got to get creative, guys. We got to customize stuff for our communities. So what are some of the other unique ways you found to build community, especially like with you having all these different clients and like different brands and voices and needs and communities? Like, what are some ways that you bring people together?
Yeah. So every community is different, right? So like I mentioned, we create SOPs for different communities. So the way that we start with that SOP is by the mission statement of the company, right? Or that brand or, you know, that influencer, 'cause sometimes it's influencers. We always go by that, like what is the mission statement and what is the goal of the brand, right? And, you know, we incorporate, I'm not gonna lie, I mean, not because I work with Russell, but guys, we incorporate everything from the value ladder and everything that we do in our communities, right? Because every client that we serve has like a free community, right? Where we're giving like the pieces, like little pieces of the cookie, right? Of what it is that we offer, right? And then the next group up is like a mid-tier, you know, level where it's a paid community, right? But they already bought something from you, whatever that is. And we give them a little bit more of the cookie, and then our high level, right? Like our high ticket programs that come with the paid community. So we incorporate a lot of what Russell has taught us as marketers inside of creating that experience, because that's what it is. It's creating that experience for your members so that they can move up your own value ladder. So that would be like my biggest tip as far as like, you know, getting members to kind of like the next level, giving them a little bit in your free communities and kind of like working that themselves up that value ladder.
Definitely, yeah, because that's always such a interesting question I hear of like how much value is too much value. Should I like limit what I say? Should I just give it away and still, you know, build the trust and hope they buy stuff anyways? I'm curious what your take is on that.
Yeah. Ooh, that I never got asked that one. That's an interesting question. All right, let me think. Um, I think it's so funny because I always go back to Russell. I don't know if you're gonna watch this, Russell, but hey, I practice what you say on the books, even for our own clients. So, you know, he teaches about frameworks, right? Like you could teach the same framework in in 30 minutes than where you can teach it the same framework in 3 hours, and that same framework you can teach in 3 days, right? Like it's all about, in the beginning you always want to build that trust, build the relationship. We talk about the manifesto, like each community has a manifesto, right? So we build that trust in the beginning, right? That manifesto, giving free value, free value, free value. You know, you shouldn't be charging members for any of your content when you first start a community, right? Because at the beginning you're just trying to build, you know, that relationship and build the trust. I mean, business is about, you know, doing people won't do business with you if they don't like, know, and trust you, right? So you got to get to that point, and it could take 3 months, it could take 6 months, right? You got to gauge it based on how your members are interacting with your content that you're sharing in the community. I don't think there's like a right or wrong on like how much is too much. I think is when you start seeing the members are like, you know, they're sharing your content, they're inviting members to your community, they are, you know, engaged, super engaged with the stuff that you got in your community, then maybe it's time to like give them an offer, but not an offer that you want to sell, like an offer that's going to serve their needs. And that's why it's so important to always poll your community. Like when you get to that point where it's like everyone's sharing your stuff, people are talking about you, inviting friends, you could create another poll and say, hey guys, how can I serve you? Like, what do you need the most in XYZ niche, right? Because this could go for any type of niche, you know, community. So asking them and then making that offer, right? Because at that point they're ready. They trust you. They want more of you, right? And obviously the more they pay, the more of your time they get. So it's kind of how you have to try to balance it. I hope that was like a good explanation.
Totally. Yeah. I love the, you know, at the core of like, okay, how can we make them love it so much that they're sharing it, that they're inviting their friends, that they're wanting to come back for more? Because that totally ties in with my next question, which is going to be, how do you get them coming back for more? You know, how do you, especially with ClickFunnels, like they are the culture builders, we know. So what were there things that, you know, you got taught from, you know, Russell and the team around that on how to incorporate it with the group, or did you kind of mix it with some of your own frameworks? Like how did you go about looking at like the taking that ClickFunnels culture and making sure it's present in the group?
Yeah. So, you know, when I came on board, you know, I'm not going to take shine off of Russell. When I came on board, he had already built that culture because I was part of his culture before I came on as, you know, part of their social media team. So I was a funnel hacker. I was there. I'm like every funnel hacking live, whatever offer he threw, I'm like, here's my credit card, right? Like I was already part of that culture. So what we did when we came on board, we took what he had already done and we enhanced it. Like that, I feel like that's what we did. We like 10x what we had. And one thing that is core principle to like internally with the company is like, you know, you must provide A1 customer service. Like, you know, and that customer service, if you look at the last year, we built the whole moderation team from scratch. When I came on board, there wasn't a team. There wasn't a team. I would just leave it at that. There wasn't a team. And I told John, I remember I told John, I was like, John, we need to like bring on more people. Like this is a huge community. Like one person cannot like manage this entire city, right? Because it was a little city. So when we brought on the whole team, I trained the whole community based on the culture that they had, what he had provided. And then again, learning as I went, right? From trial and error. We would see how people were posting and how can we serve them, right? If you go to the ClickFunnels community right now, every single post that goes on, one of our team comments, like we're the first to comment. We are present. And I think that's so important when you own a community, whether you are a one-man gang and that's your community, or whether you have a moderation team on, your moderators should be paying attention to the stuff that your members are posting, and you should be the first one to comment. And that has turned so much around. Like we get posts all the time and people messaging us, wow, you guys are so present. Wow, you guys really care about us, right? Anytime there's like, you know, praises and success stories going on, we go above and beyond. We shout people out, right? Like we attend to them and they feel important, right? Like everybody wants to feel like they're part of something.
That's the key.
Yeah, and that's
the key. They feel important.
Yeah, that's community. Everybody wants to be felt like they are part of something and feeling important. So we make sure that we are present and we comment on every single post and we're the first ones to comment. So that is something that, you know, I kind of like mixed into the table, and, you know, the group has completely changed around. I mean, another thing that we did when I came on board was we turned on post approval because that was the only way to monitor every single comment.
That group. Post. Oh yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah. So we used to have a lot of spam and stuff like that in there and people just being crazy. And now, I mean, it's been a year already. It's taken us a while to get where we are now, but implementing these new systems, right? Turning on the post approval, using the keyword alerts. We started using topics. We started using all the tools that Facebook gives us that they weren't using back then. And we just enhanced what he had already built.
Yep. That's awesome. And that's really what it's all about, especially like, I think there's a really good lesson in that for all the service-based entrepreneurs too, is, you know, how hard would it be for you to take somebody with no group and completely build up all their culture and members and all this stuff from zero, versus finding somebody who's already established to a certain level, helping them make a few of those key tweaks and run things and optimize it, and it just skyrockets those results.
Yeah.
Like that's such a great way to, you know, figure out who you really want to work with and add the most value to, because it's 1,000 times as much work to start somebody off from zero than it is to work with somebody already up there who just needs a little bit more, you know, pointing in the right direction. So that's very cool.